we are talking to Mathew Samuel, who has the answers to many questions that this whole situation today has raised. Mr. Mathew Samuel, thank you so much for joining us. And for those who need a refresher, Mr. Mathew Samuel was a journalist with the Tehelka, and then he went on to form his own company called Narada. And then he went on to, in a way, pose as a businessman. He came to Kolkata back in 2014 and then met one after the other at least 13 individuals here in the city, offering them bribes. All of these people, barring one, were Trinamool leaders. Mr. Samuel, thank you so much for joining us. And let me ask you straight away, what is your reaction to developments today when 4 people of the 12 Trinamool leaders that you met up with now are arrested, the biggest such move since the whole case started in 2016?
Thank you, Monideepa. First of all, today I'm literally happy because such a long time, so I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and I came to Calcutta and Delhi CBI office more than 40 to 45 times, including ED office. And always the CBI officers, what they are going to give the explanation, why such a delay happening. They told me this is actually a high profile case and they needed permission from the Delhi headquarters, and Delhi headquarters needed a permission from the concerned authority. So then I was keep waiting and waiting. And you might be knowing one of the senior officers, police officer arrested. And according to CBI, this charge sheet was ready last 3 years back. Then nothing happened. Finally, morning I came to know it was charge sheeted, and some of the senior 2 cabinet ministers in TMC, they arrested, and 2 of the former MLAs and ministers, and currently the MLA, one of them MLA, they also arrested. But my question is, what to happen to Suvendu Adhikari? Because I was the one who went to his office and given the money to him, and it was recorded properly, and it was forensically tested by Chandigarh and Gujarat. This is my knowledge actually, because I given this every tapes and every visuals to Hyderabad forensic lab. They gone to Gujarat and Chandigarh and all these places. And according to CBI officers told me, Suvendu Adhikari admitted to CBI and ED. He received the money, 5 lakhs rupees, and so person, that everything he admitted. Then finally what happened? His name was not there. This is very sad situation.
Mr. Samuel, Mr. Samuel, this is your information from the CBI. What we know and what is in the public domain is that just as the CBI asked the governor of West Bengal for sanction to prosecute these 4 persons who have today been arrested, including 2 extremely senior ministers in the Mamata Banerjee government, similarly the CBI had asked the Lok Sabha Speaker for permission to prosecute Suvendu Adhikari. Apparently that letter requesting permission is lying with the Lok Sabha Speaker since 2019. Is this what you know, or do you know differently? You were saying that apparently Suvendu's name was also, there in the list that went from the CBI seeking sanction for prosecution to the governor. Is that accurate? What is it that you can tell us about the situation?
Exactly. This, first of all, I wanted to make it clear. After this sting operation released in Press Club in 2016, March 13, that was the day the story was released. Then initially I got I summoned by parliamentary committee. That was Mr. L.K. Advani was the chairman. So I went there. I handed over all these visuals and all the documents. Also I handed over to him. That there is a committee from one of the senior Secretary General of Rajya Sabha. So handed over everything. What happened to that? Nothing. Then I came to know from the CBI sources, they given several letters to Speaker of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha for getting permission for the prosecution. What happened? So several letters, it's not one letter. Then finally I came to know from the CBI also, they sent this letter and including Suvendu Adhikari name given to Bengal speaker for permission. Nothing happened. So this is what, according to my information, I was getting from investigating agency. Then finally, I don't know why Suvendu Adhikari name was not there, because he was a transport minister. So that time his name was included in the CBI, that in the State Assembly Speaker. This is what I got the information. I don't know what exactly the reality. So that is what I wanted to say.
Right. Right. But in your view, you are mystified that the case has also not been initiated against Suvendu Adhikari and Mukul Roy. But my colleague Arvind was just saying that Mukul Roy is not going to be arrested or any action taken whatsoever, apparently because he plans to turn a prover in the case. Are you aware of what the circumstances are over there?
Now, I wanted to tell you that I don't even have any video electronic evidence against Mukul Roy because he was receiving money, because he told me I have to go and give this money to SP Mirza in Burdwan. That time he was a Burdwan SP. So that there I went and given the money to him. That was not recorded. According to CBI, so SP Mirza given a statement to CBI that he handed over money to Mukul Roy. But that is not, Mukul Roy told me to hand over the money to so and so person. I handed over. But I don't even have an electronic or spy camera or any record. This is what I told CBI also.
But in the
that
case,
means I don't even have evidence.
But in the case of Suvendu Adhikari, you have evidence.
Exactly. That's correct.
So, just a couple of other questions. Would you just tell us what prompted you to undertake this particular sting operation? We believe Mr. K.D. Singh, who was your boss in Tehelka at the time, he funded the whole operation at the same time as also representing the Trinamool Congress in Rajya Sabha. Have you untangled that mystery?
Yeah, I wanted to explain that. You might be knowing 2013 there was an episode happened, Tarun Tejpal sexual assault case in Goa. Then the Tehelka was completely down, and that time K.D. Singh called me 3-4 times in his phone to meet him. So he told me, he given me an offer and requested me 2-3 times because I was not that time willing to join in Tehelka. Then he told me that he wanted some explosive story to relaunch Tehelka. So he said he is not willing, not bothered about how much money he is going to spend. So then initially I was chosen one Madhya Pradesh and then Himachal. Himachal was a very small state. But Madhya Pradesh, again I am going to BJP. I don't want to stand. Always I am behind BJP. Then it was accidentally, I got an idea about the Sharda scam. Then I visited there. Not first time, to a second time, third time. I met this driver Islam and the Tiger and everything happening. And K.D. Singh was funded through some of the sources in Calcutta in his alchemist office. And this was exactly happened. But one thing I wanted to tell you. Meanwhile, I have to show all this video visual to K.D. Singh 1 week because I used to have to come every week because that time I was running this magazine also. So that time K.D. Singh was shocked to see all these leaders involved. In my best knowledge, that time K.D. Singh was the member of JMM, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Later he joined in TMC, then he was not willing to publish this investigative episodes. So then I decided to launch Narada and put it on air. This is what exactly happened. This is not a conspiracy, nothing else. it is actually going to be relaunch of Narada. Needed a good story. So I did. That is only the answer.
Okay. Mr. Samuel, I have one more question for you, which is probably the answer is most obvious, and that is, do you think all the people who you shot on camera taking money, all of them should face action? Do you think all of them should, including those people who have gone over to the BJP? If you could just give me a quick answer on that one.
From my heart, I will tell you, everyone has to punish. That's all. There is no such kind of a parameters to BJP, TMC, whatever party. Those who receive the money from me, it's a forensically tested. Investigation happened. Everyone has to be punished.
Correct.
That is only the message as a journalist and you we can give to the public. Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mathew Samuel. I mean, you're absolutely right. Corruption has to be punished, and it shouldn't matter which party the person belongs to. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. Mr. Samuel, in a way, speaking his mind on this whole issue that has erupted and made headlines in Bengal today, with people crowding on the streets, protesting what has happened at a time when there is a lockdown in the state, in the city.